Can they hear me? They hear me live out there. Next beat. That ain't the beat I wanted to.
Those was wood
another
beats
beat.
right
Another
there.
beat. Nope. Give me another beat. Give me another beat. Nope. That's not it. That's the beat. Turn it up.
Oh, word.
Turn it up. I gotta hear it a little louder. Can you make it louder than my headphones? Turn me up in my headphones. I'm still stuck in the 80s/90s. Lottos, kangaroo boots, nanny ghosts, Velas, jumpsuits and troops, Junos, color Levi's, Bugs Bunny sweaters with the rhinestone ring on it. Fighting and making up the next day. Nobody getting shot. Working to hustle and to get it, a get got. We had love for the streets, our family, our foes, our friends. Respect for the elderly. Pager/payphone, sneaking into Adams Theater. Watching Crush grooving tougher than leather. Hopping gates out the college port to bank out, cause you don't want to get caught at mom's crib or at Vaughn's crib. Eating funny dinner with the fam. Church every Sunday, 8 o'clock a.m. And even if I fell asleep in the back row or played sick, no matter what, man, I still had to go. 80s, baby. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper. 80s, baby. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper.
Welcome, friends. How are we tonight? Thank you so much for joining us while we cast the pods here on the Xcast. I am your host, Josh Houselander. This is webisode number 61 of the Xcast, to be exact, day 4,875 in the search for Tim Chevelday. With me, as always, our director, program director, big-time boss here at theempiremedia.com, Adam Hernandez. How's it going, Adam?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good.
Good. We have a jam-packed show tonight. I know I say that a lot, but this one is really a truly jam-packed show. I do not know if we'll get to all of it. We're going to try to touch on everything that we have a ton to talk about. We've had so many deep issues and, other things going on lately. Deep issues casts and even ones that weren't deep issues, but we devoted a lot to it. A lot of great guests. If you missed,
we both have some deep issues.
We do have some deep issues in our personal lives as well. If you missed last week's episode with Alicia Renee, that is one I would really recommend you go back and look. A lot of fun. And despite some technical difficulties, mostly on her end, but that's okay. Despite some technical difficulties, it was a really good show, and she was such a great guest. We had so much fun last week. So if you want, check out webisode number 60 with Alicia Renee. A lot of fun. But because of that, we glazed over some stuff that we haven't covered yet. And next week, we have another special Halloween show that we're going to be doing. So we want to get some stuff in that we won't be able to talk about next week as well. So shall we jump into it? Adam?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Dude, we are a bit remiss here. We have not talked much at all about Harvey Weinstein.
Mm-hmm.
We did a little bit last week in the news section. But for the most part, we really have not touched on this. And I don't know. I've kind of a weird take on this Harvey Weinstein thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you agree with me or not, Adam, but okay, Harvey Weinstein's an absolute pig. We all know that now. I mean, guy's an absolute pig. It sounds like he's done some really terrible things. But the thing that has kind of surprised me about this is people being so offended by what they are supposedly finding out Harvey Weinstein did, and people trying to make themselves look better or come clean with this stuff. And I mean, come on, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but haven't we all known that this crap's been going on in Hollywood for 50 years?
Well, it seems like, I mean, I don't know if the regular person would know that Harvey Weinstein was a scumbag, but certainly it seems like everybody in Hollywood, or a lot of people in Hollywood, certainly seemed to know that Harvey Weinstein was a complete and utter dirtbag. And
right.
You go back and you're seeing video and everything of people kind of hinting at that, people in Hollywood kind of hinting at that. And I think it was after last week's show, Josh, when we were kind of closing things up for the night. I kind of equated this to the Ray Rice situation with the Baltimore Ravens.
I couldn't remember if you did that on air or off air.
I can't remember.
Either way, it was a great comparison.
Yeah,
so please do it again.
Yeah, I can't remember it either. But I mean, everybody knew what Ray Rice did to his then fiance was awful.
And everyone knew that spousal abuse was running rampant in the NFL.
Yes. Domestic violence. Nobody should have needed a video to justify any of that. Everybody knew what happened. Everybody knew, how bad it was. But as soon as the video came out about Ray Rice, okay, then that's when shit really hit the fan. That's when he got suspended and, essentially kicked out of the NFL.
And that's when everyone got offended and got so, just so butthurt over it and so obsessed with it. But like you said, we knew.
Yeah,
we knew he knocked his wife out cold and dragged her out of the elevator by her hair.
Yeah, so how come nobody was outraged then, but they were outraged when it actually happened? And I'm not saying that people shouldn't be outraged.
Oh yeah, they absolutely.
They absolutely should be outraged. Same reason why people should be outraged when it comes to this Harvey Weinstein thing. But why did it take? Why did this go on for so long before people managed to speak up about it?
Oh, yeah, why did this all of a sudden become this huge issue that now everyone is offended by and everyone is hurt by and everyone's going to go crazy over in and outside of Hollywood after basically they decide to throw Harvey Weinstein under the bus? After Harvey Weinstein falls out of favor and they have rock solid proof of some of the stuff he's done, now all of a sudden all these people are coming out that knew he was doing this stuff for decades.
Yeah, and Josh, and I just want to say, I mean, I don't want it to sound like Harvey Weinstein is the victim in any of this, because he certainly isn't. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Harvey Weinstein should be thrown in front of the bus and then fall underneath it.
I agree
when it comes to something like this.
He's an absolute pig. I hope he fries for all of this.
I mean what we're seeing here though is an all-encompassing issue with it's an Hollywood thing, because Hollywood has set itself up to be this place where there's tremendous competition. There's good-looking people. There's good-looking, and in this case, there's good-looking young women. And again, not saying that that's any excuse. However, when you put those factors together, you're going to have absolute dirtbag pigs like Harvey Weinstein taking advantage of the situation as a guy in power. And it's not something that we see just in Hollywood. Obviously, we've seen it in other areas too. Fox News is obviously dealing with this, and they continue to deal with it after a guy like Bill O'Reilly has been, gone now for several months now from the network. They're still dealing with the ramifications of new shit coming out. But when it comes to Harvey Weinstein, and if you're just talking Hollywood, if you're just dealing with that issue in hand right now, yeah, Hollywood needs to take a step back and have a good long look at themselves and figure out, what, Harvey Weinstein, that's the given. Harvey Weinstein is an awful, awful person,
right,
and deserves everything that is coming at him right now. But the thing that I don't want to happen in all of this is to make it seem like Hollywood right now is all of a sudden the hero in all of this for finally exposing Harvey Weinstein.
And many in Hollywood are making themselves out to be
when this is something that should have been exposed years ago, saving the mental victims, the physical and the mental victims that came out of this.
Well, and let's look at some of the nasty truth with this, because let's face it, this is coming out now, and now you have a bunch of actors and actresses coming out saying that this was terrible, but they knew all this time, and none of them had the stones to say a word about it until it was exposed.
No, they didn't.
And the really nasty truth, and I hate to even say this because people are going to act like I'm justifying it, and I'm not. I'm not justifying any of it. I hope this guy goes down. I think he's a terrible, terrible man. And I think the stuff he's done is terrible. And to his victims, I really do feel sorry for them. A lot, But the issue I'm having with this is that the nasty side of this is that one of the reasons nobody spoke up, that the women didn't speak up, that Supposedly, there's men that this happens to too. John Travolta has said this over the years, that he was subjected to things like this, and that he actually kind of made the claim that it actually like turned him gay. Supposedly, that.
Yeah, I don't buy that. I mean, personally, I think you're born gay, or I don't think anybody can turn gay.
I agree with you, Adam, but I'm using his supposed words this was testified against him by the masseuse that he was, hitting on, basically. And we'll get back to that. We will get back to that for sure, because that's a fascinating story in its own right, and it links to this. But the nasty underbelly of this is that truth is Hollywood is an awesome gig.
Sure it is.
You get paid a whole bunch of money to be famous.
Mm-hmm.
It's an awesome job. And people didn't want to say anything because, quite frankly, to them, and they wouldn't say it in this exact way, but to them, it was worth it. Whatever nasty thing they had to do with Harvey Weinstein when they were 22 years old is worth being Angelina Jolie now. And I don't mean that she was just the first actress that popped into my head, who's very famous and rich and powerful and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the nasty side of this, I think, is that's why, because I think they'd be more prone to go to the young woman who it's happening to next and not say, you need to go to the authorities. I think the scumbags in Hollywood are much more prone to say, do what he tells you to do. It's going to suck. And then be rich and famous like me.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's talking about that. Nobody's saying that. They're just talking about the victims and talking about Harvey Weinstein. And to me, it's feigned offense. It's not real offense. Because anyone that's ever read an article, I was going to say book, but you don't have to read a book or have watched the entire miniseries to know that this was happening to Marilyn Monroe and Jane Mansfield long before Harvey Weinstein was around.
Yeah, the problem is much deeper than Harvey Weinstein.
And this has been happening forever. Like I said, John Travolta said that the guys used to make him do stuff. And, he claimed that, he wasn't, he didn't even know he was gay then, or didn't, he was, while he was trying to, aggressively flirt or aggressively hit on his male masseuses, he would be known to say things along the lines of, hey, I didn't like it at first either. We'll give it a shot and maybe you'll like it and we'll, it'll be fun and I'll make you famous and, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And again, I know Adam and I keep saying this. The last thing me or him is trying to do here is justify anything. But I think like the Brad Pitts of the world and the Tom Hanks of the world and the guys like that, you knew this stuff was going on. Did they ever use their power for good instead of evil?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think we need to get to the root of the problem here. I mean, this isn't just a Harvey Weinstein thing. I think this is a how they were talking about the culture issue at Fox News when they were discussing Roger Ailes and Eric Bolling and Bill O'Reilly and so on. And I think there was a couple of other guys in there as well. It's the same with this right now, where you have to change the culture of Hollywood, and it's something that's not going to happen overnight. This is something that is going to, because like you said, Josh, this is something that Hollywood has been dealing with and hiding. It's been the seedy underbelly of Hollywood for probably well before Marilyn Monroe.
Right, yeah, I'm saying 50 years. It's probably more like 75 or 80 years. Or more.
We're probably going into the Charlie Chaplin days of Hollywood and the silent movies and shit like that. But yeah, this is a culture of Hollywood that obviously needs to change, and it's not. And I know people want to run and make it a political issue, whether it's it's a liberal issue or it's a conservative issue. No, this is a decency of
right. This is a human being issue.
Yeah, this is a human being issue. It's being a decent human being that doesn't go out and commit this type of stuff in order to throw your power or use your power for evil purposes, which is what this is. And and unfortunately, like I said, it's not. And it also may be bigger than Hollywood. It's something. It's people in power using their power to take advantage of vulnerable people looking for opportunity, and it's obviously it's really sad to see something like that continue to happen. It happens in politics. It happens in Hollywood. It happens in more places than you.
Absolutely. And Harvey Weinstein said something interesting, and this is yet to really happen yet, but he has said that if he's going down, he's going to spill the beans on a bunch of people doing this, on pedophiles and rapists and terrible people in Hollywood. And when I heard Weinstein say this, who I know he's an absolute pig, but I'm thinking, good. It's really a shame that that the only way we're going to find out about this is one guy decided I'm not going down by myself and spilling the beans, but I hope he does. And honestly, as nasty and as gross it is, and as much as it, gives you the willies to think about it, if they have to give Harvey Weinstein a lesser sentence to nail a dozen or more people like this, then do it. Because these other guys are still in power. And the people I blame, really, I mean, I know I'm singling people out when I, name famous actors, but really, where are the Will Smiths and the Brad Pitts and, well, I shouldn't say Tom Cruise, he's such a weirdo. But I mean the guys that already made their money. The men and women in Hollywood who have already made their money. You can't take it away from them now. They're already big stars. Where are these people coming out once they've made it saying, hey, this has got to stop? But no, they're showing that they're part of this culture and that in some ways they approve. To me, all these people in Hollywood are a bunch of mini Joe Paternos. They know this is going on and they do nothing about it because they don't want to upset the apple cart.
Now you're trying to get me going here mentioning Joe Paterno.
Yeah, I am trying to get you going. But it sucks because you know what? The young woman, or in some of these cases it sounds like girl, because sometimes they're not even of age, but the young woman who has this happening to them, unfortunately, they're never going to come out and say it. Because when they say, hey, if you want this movie part that, pays $1 million and it's going to put you on the map, if you want this movie part, you're going to do whatever I say.
Well, you know what?
And same with, if you want your record to be released, then you're going to go over to this producer's house and you're going to do whatever he says. Because to them, as much as it sucks and it's terrible, it's worth it.
In some sense.
Well, I mean, it's not. It's a shame, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I know exactly.
The vast majority of people, when put in that situation, are going to say, oh, geez, that sounds terrible, but I'm going to be a millionaire after this.
Yeah, and what
I'm
going
to be famous.
Yeah, and what I mean, they think it's going to be worth it. They think it's going to be worth it because they're, they think that might be their only opportunity into the industry. And you brought up the whole Joe Paterno thing, and you're not wrong in any of this, Josh. That's a perfect comparison to make in any of this because the thing that happened at Penn State, and this is the biggest problem I have with anybody who tries to argue that the NCAA was overstepping their bounds when they went and they punished them because it wasn't a sports issue. I'm like, bullshit, it wasn't a sports issue. The only reason why Penn State and Joe Paterno wanted to hide this is to protect their football program.
Right.
And it's the same thing in Hollywood. The only reason why people aren't speaking out about this is because Harvey Weinstein, in particular, is a major player in Hollywood.
Mhm.
And if you speak out against him again at the time,
Sure.
then nobody's going to believe you. Nobody's going to, it's going to be your word against his. It's going to, there's going to be all these different excuses that come up, on the other side saying, oh, well, you're just pissed off because you didn't get this part, or it's going to be something else other than, the truth.
Right.
And again, this is a problem we run into all the time. I mean, and this is why you can't get on people who decide to come out after the fact, because all of a sudden they're coming out after the fact because finally other people are telling the same story that they needed to tell or that they wanted to tell, but they didn't have the courage to do so because they felt that, you know what? I was already humiliated by this guy. I already had my, it already seems like my self-worth was ripped from me. Why would I put myself in that position again for my name to be dragged through the mud, going up against this guy who has all this money, all this power? Why should I put myself through that again when I've already dealt with so much shit already? I mean, that's why you can't blame these victims for coming out and doing this, after the fact, because finally they have some sense of, okay, I've got a team together here now.
Sure.
I feel secure about coming out about this because it's not just my word against theirs. It's all of our words against theirs. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, yes, we've had instances in the past where unfortunately people have come out and cried rape and nothing has ever happened. Obviously, the Duke lacrosse case, is one of those high profile incidents where that happened. However, that's not a rule. That's an exception to the rule. And in most cases, what we see here is what is actually happening, and people in power taking advantage of vulnerable people looking for opportunity, doing everything that they can to get an opportunity in a highly competitive business like Hollywood.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. And that's just, and the people that are now coming out, the original people that came out, I give them credit. But I just don't know why some of these people who have just been stars and millionaires for years haven't come out. To me, that's exactly what Joe Paterno did. Joe Paterno had the power, the money, and the clout to, when he found out about Jerry Sandusky, to come out and say, this has got to go. I want press in here. I want cops in here. I want everything. We're going to do the right thing, and we're going to, we're going to fix this. But he didn't want to because he thought it might screw it up. And that's what...
He said himself. He's like, he had a football team to run.
Right.
He's like, I don't want to hear any of this. I've got a football team to run.
I mean... But these women who are now 40 years old, of course I still feel sorry for them for what happened to them then. But come on, you're 40 years old now. You're still beautiful. You still are famous. You're now very rich. You're very powerful. Why weren't you on Twitter 10 years ago saying, hey, you know what this guy does? You know what I had to do to get here? I had to name names. Name names. But they knew that, and they knew they were still doing it to the new, young, and up-and-coming, young women or young men. In Weinstein's case, it sounds like it was women.
I'm not like you said, Jess.
I call me reverse sexist or whatever, but I do tend to feel more sorry for the women put in these positions than the men because. Well, it's just different.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not gonna blame the victim for not coming out on Twitter 10 years ago, just because again, it's their word against his, and at the time, if you don't have other people coming out with you, then again, you're gonna be cast aside as a money grubber or somebody just looking for a lawsuit.
I don't so much blame the victims, but I do blame the people that knew.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, like you mentioned like the Joe Paterno. Obviously Joe Paterno wasn't the one raping kids,
right? No,
and he wasn't getting raped himself, but he certainly was complicit in all of this. That, knowing what was going on, being a guy in power and a guy that could do something about it. Yet the only thing that the only thing that he did was the absolute bare minimum.
Right.
So,
but I mean, don't you feel that even if you're a victim, and of course, this isn't shaming the victim here for what happened to them at all, but don't you feel like if you were the victim of something when you were young, and now you know that that's happening to other young, defenseless people, isn't it your duty to get out there and try to do something about that?
Look, I don't want to speak for victims of sexual assault or anything like that, just because it's such a, I have no comprehension of what these people go through, because I've never been a victim myself of sexual assault. So
No.
I don't know the the psychological ramifications that that they go through because of it. I don't know if it's something they want to rehash in themselves or what. So I mean, yeah, I mean you would hope that that somebody would come out and say something about it. But again, I mean, I guess in some ways, I'm open to understanding why maybe they didn't.
And I know what you're saying, Adam. I do. And I am fully with you on the, I mean, the psychological ramifications must be terrible. But I don't think they weren't saying it because of the psychological ramifications. I think they weren't saying it because they don't want to upset the apple cart.
It could,
because
it
at
could
the end
be.
of the day, these movie stars, they didn't like it, but they viewed it as worth it.
Look, the people I'm going to blame first and foremost. I'm not going to blame the victims at all in any of this. Who I'm going to look towards are the people who weren't sexually assaulted but knew exactly what was going on.
I agree with you.
Those are the people that that have some serious questions to or have some serious answers that need to be put forth regarding all of this, because again, obviously Harvey Weinstein is a pig. He's an awful person, but that's a given. That's the obvious statement in all of this.
No, and Adam, I want to be clear too. The only person I'm blaming here is Harvey Weinstein and all the other rapers out there who are doing the same thing as him.
You know what what really bugs me about all of this too, Josh, is a couple of weeks ago when the Academy kicked Harvey Weinstein out. This is how we know they're not taking it seriously, because they kick Harvey Weinstein out. I hate phrasing it like this, but Harvey Weinstein is kind of the flavor of the month.
Right.
He's the hotness when it comes to, to sexual assault. And again, Harvey Weinstein should be kicked out of the Academy. Yeah. It should have been day one. There shouldn't have been any debate or anything or anything about it. He should have been gone as soon as this was made, as soon as it was made known to anybody in the Academy. But these are the same. The Academy is the same organization that still has Bill Cosby and Roman Polanski in it.
Right.
How come they're not kicked out?
Right.
I mean, Bill Cosby. I mean, again, Harvey Weinstein right now is at the same level as Bill Cosby is. I mean, yeah, Bill Cosby hasn't been convicted of anything yet. Harvey Weinstein hasn't been convicted of anything yet. But we've had a shit ton of victims come forward, pointing the finger at them and saying, yes, they absolutely did it. And everything has been consistent about it. Right. The consistency between the stories has been very, very real. Yes, they still deserve a trial. They just, in the United States, is not, people aren't guilty, in the court of public. Of course they are, but that's not what throws you in jail or anything like that. But, I mean,
the case of Roman Polanski too, to me, that's the worst one. I mean, when they tried to give that guy a trial, but instead he fled the country.
He fled the country.
He fled the country.
Yeah.
And everyone in Hollywood still supported him. They were still talking about how great he was at the Academy Awards.
Who's the other one? Woody Allen? Is that another one?
Woody Allen had the thing with his stepdaughter.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's creepy and gross. I don't know what exactly. If that's necessarily the same thing. It's I'm not trying to stick up for Woody Allen. I think he's a creep, but I don't know that this was that it was on the same.
But
level
again, though, what Roman Polanski is to stay in because people still think he makes good movies or something.
I guess,
I mean, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, do people actually still see Bill Cosby as America's dad?
Right.
I mean, what? Again, what are we doing here? And are people really going to celebrate the Academy for kicking out Harvey Weinstein?
Michael Jackson's another one.
Is he? And yeah, I mean,
yeah, I don't know that Michael Jackson's in the Academy, but I mean,
he's still celebrated.
Yeah, I mean, and they just kind of like pushed him aside. But then the second he died, it was like, oh, let's make movies about him and give him awards and give him all the Emmys or give him all the Grammys and give him all the Oscars.
Yeah.
And it's like, give me a break.
It's like
it's so.
They're
so two-faced.
It reminds me of this Dave Chappelle show skit where, they asked him, he's on the stand, it's the jury deliberations for the Michael Jackson case, and he's like, and they're asking him, so you think he's guilty? He's like, hell no. He's like, you know what? I could probably describe Michael Jackson's balls to somebody. He's like, or penis to somebody. He's like, you know what? There's probably a shaft, 2 balls. Maybe some pubes, some pressed perm pubes, and they're like, "So, would you let your own kids stay the night over his house?" Hell no.
Exactly. No, it's ridiculous, and that's. I mean, God, how many families are in and out of Hollywood? That have just been around forever. I mean, do you know that? I mean. It's just I mean how many guys were in this industry and let their daughters try out for a Harvey Weinstein movie? It's disgusting, and I'm so disgusted by him, but I'm disgusted by the whole culture. Actually, yeah, it's ludicrous.
It's funny too because I want to play this this Corey Feldman interview.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what, but it was on The View. And he's talking about pedophilia in Hollywood. And let me see if I can get it queued up here. Let's see here. Just give me a second.
Okay. And while you're loading it up, Adam, it's the point you're making too is just really important. Is that why do people choose these times, these strange times? A video came out or X amount of people are finally coming clean with it. They choose these times to all of a sudden be offended by this. All of a sudden take up the issue as their own when Corey Feldman's been saying this for years.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about the regular everyday person like you and I because
no.
We don't know anything about it. I mean, we weren't, we're not in Hollywood or anything like that. But of course, I mean, you can look at other individuals as well. And let's see if I can get this queued up here, though. Oops, let me get that.
I'm saying that there are people that were the people that did this to both me and Corey that are still working. They're still out there, and they're some of the richest, most powerful people in this business.
And they are.
And they do not want me saying what I'm saying right now.
Are you saying that they're pedophiles?
Yes.
And that they're still in this business?
Yes.
That's what you're saying in your book. When you talk to when you talk to
and
parents,
they don't want me here right now. Trust
Corey,
me. They want me dead.
There are a lot of parents out here who want to put their kids in this business. Their kids are cute, they're great actors. What would you say to a parent who just has the best of intentions, who's coming here with their child? If you're saying that there's a lot of predators in this industry.
It's a many-feathered bird. Okay? Be careful what you wish for. That's what I'll tell you. Don't go into it with naivety. Don't go into it thinking that it's all roses and sunglasses and
You're damaging an entire industry.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to say that it's a very important, serious topic.
You said that there was one gentleman in the industry who did not take advantage of you. He was not a pedophile. You said it was Michael Jackson.
Of all people.
You know what? And you heard what Barbara Walters said. She said,
"Oh yeah, she's trying to dismiss him."
I mean, you're damaging an entire industry
Like the industry is more important than.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Well, what? I mean, Corey Feldman too is a guy that spent his entire childhood in the industry.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, I don't know why. I mean, realistically here, why would Corey Feldman lie about something like that?
Do you know what? Something I found was really interesting that he said too.
What's
Just
that?
the one word that he said is that they want me dead. Like he's coming right out and saying they're not above doing that either.
Mm-hmm.
They're not above putting a hit on me. And Barbara Walters, when she says that right there, when she says that you're damaging the industry, to me, all I hear in her tone of voice, the way she's saying it, the way she's doing it, is that she knows, as somebody who's been around show business, Hollywood, maybe not so much, but no, because of her interviews, she was around Hollywood, but she's been around show business her entire life. She knows damn well what he's saying is absolutely true. She knew it before he said it. She knew it before he came on the show that day. She knew it 10 years before that. And she doesn't want to upset the apple cart either.
I mean, I hate getting into the conspiracy aspect of it, but I think it's incredibly irresponsible. You know, I'm not, and I don't know when that video came out. I mean, I'm assuming it was a few years ago. But it's incredibly irresponsible of somebody, especially like Barbara Walters, who's been a respected journalist for, you know, an incredible amount of time, to just go and be so dismissive of Corey Feldman. It's not like Corey Feldman is some guy off the street. It's not like he was some, you know, like some no-name actor just waltzing in and making these accusations. No, Corey Feldman had quite the lucrative child actor career.
He was like the Prince of the 80s.
Yeah, and yeah, he was a big name, and you'd have to figure if anybody in Hollywood knew what it was like to be a kid actor and the shit that you had to go through, it's going to be a guy like Corey Feldman.
Right.
I mean, that's who's going to know about this. It's not going to be some later in life actor that all of a sudden made it big. You know, they made their way through Broadway or something. And I don't know if there's some, you know, the same type of shit going on in Broadway or not.
It's not going to be Harrison Ford. It's going to be Corey Feldman.
Yeah. Exactly. And there's, you know what, I mean, speaking with the whole conspiracy, because I know Dave Chappelle kind of gets into maybe a more conspiracy aspect of it, but I do want to play this one, Josh, when he was talking about the Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, no, please do. And because I'll be honest with you, Adam, I do get into a big conspiracy aspect of this.
Well, here it is. Let me see if I can, hopefully it doesn't, they don't play any commercials or anything. Here we go.
When Martin Lawrence was in that chair, we talked about Blue Streak.
I love it.
He played a role in your life, I believe. How do you feel about him as a person, as an artist?
Martin Lawrence is the guy that showed everybody you can make it from D.C. to Hollywood. And I had a personal stake in his success. Every time he did something, it made me feel inspired and really good. And he was always real nice to me. He'd sit me down, "What's going on with you, baby boy? What? We'd talk about comedy, whatever." And you know, when we did Blue Streak, we were promoting it, and Martin had a stroke. He almost died. And then after that, I saw him, and I was like, "Oh my God, Martin, are you okay?" And he said, "I got the best sleep I ever got in my life." That's how tough he is. So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, "They are trying to kill me"? What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick.
That's it.
Well, and you can see the look on his name's escaping me, host of that show.
Inside the actor's studio or something like that.
Yeah, Inside the Actor's Studio's name of the show. What's his name?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Neither can I. Damn it. I love that show. But you can see the look on his face too. He doesn't want to deal with this. That is not the question. That is not the answer he was expecting or that he wanted. He doesn't look surprised that somebody's saying it. He looks annoyed that that is the direction that Dave Chappelle took this interview. That's what I get out of his face. Now, he didn't say that. I'm reading into it like I did with the Barbara Walters thing. But, yeah, I don't know. I agree. I think...
Well, he wasn't dismissive like Barbara Walters was.
No, he wasn't, but he didn't ask the follow-up questions. He went right back into movies after that.
I mean, in all fairness, that was a 1 minute and 55-second clip. So, I mean, I haven't seen the whole thing, but based off that, yeah.
Yeah. No, I used to watch it. I love that show. Is it Leonard something? I keep wanting to say Leonard Maltin, but it is not Leonard Maltin.
No, it's not Leonard Maltin. I'll find it here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Well, I guess it does matter, but yeah, you can find it. But I just, I get the impression from Dave Chappelle there that he's not saying as much as he could either.
James Lipton,
yeah. He's not saying as much as he could either there. He is. I'm not blaming him for not saying more, but he seems scared. He doesn't want to say too much. And he knows that what he just said right there is brave and is going to potentially get him in trouble. And I don't know. This stuff's going on. And just because you nail one dude, because Harvey Weinstein pissed off the right group of people, because that's all that happened here, everybody. Harvey Weinstein pissed off his business partners. He pissed some people off, and they just said, you know what? Screw this guy. We had so much dirt on him. Let's just nail him and take his shares and take his money and take his company. That's what happened. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit if half of the dudes that did this to him are doing the exact same thing.
No, it wouldn't surprise me in the least bit either.
And those people that kicked him out of the academy, the idea that those people in the academy, that this was the first they heard about this, or that they haven't known for years or decades potentially that Weinstein was doing this, I don't buy it for a second.
I mean, it may seem a little unfair to have that mentality, but we've seen it so much lately, especially, that men in power taking advantage of vulnerable people.
Right.
I mean, we've seen it. I mean, it's not something that is new by any means. It's something that is unfortunately very established and very old. But
no, you're right. Do you want to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Antifa, man. Some of their cohort groups they're planning a big how do you do on November 4th. I say, Adam, I kind of especially want to know your thoughts on some of that, because I know that you're kind of on board with Antifa a little bit to some degree.
Hold on, I gotta change here.
Oh, Adam's going to change into his communist garb. Oh, jeez. Oh, this is for an audience of one on Facebook Live, or audience of a few. For those of you listening, not on the video feed, Adam has just changed into his communist, his Communist Party hockey jersey. So it's very classy. So what's up, Adam?
What's going on?
What's up? What was I gonna call you? What's up, comrade? How are you?
Hey, this is a Vladimir Konstantinov jersey.
Yeah,
I was a big fan of the Russian Five. What can I say?
Yeah, and you're a big fan of communism as well. But you have been kind of, you've been not totally against Antifa in the past, right? I mean, am I aligned by saying that? I'm not trying to put,
I'm gonna go to myself now and be wearing
to start defending Antifa.
And I'm wearing a Toronto Blue Jays hat too. So everything that I'm totally un-American right now.
Right now, like he was flag waving right before this.
I mean, my biggest problem with Antifa is the means they go about trying to get their point proven. I don't agree with, violence. I don't want to see violence take place.
Well, what is, are they overreacting to this? I mean, I guess we're not going to know till
And,
November 4th.
and let me just further preface, Josh. Even when they weren't Antifa, even when they were anti-racist action, and this is back when I was in high school, I mean, I still didn't like the way they went about, went about, trying to prove their points or, push their
the ends don't justify the means.
No, I don't like. I mean, of course, I'm against any type of racism, I'm against any sort of fascism or anything, and everything like that. But I don't want to see people go out there and destroy other people's property, other innocent people's property. I don't want to see people go out there and hurt people.
Sure.
You know,
I agree. And we'll see how bad it is, and we will certainly cover it on our first show after that will be November 6th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So 6th or 7th. I don't know.
I'm gonna look on the calendar.
Okay. But either way, it'll be that Tuesday right afterwards. But
7th.
Some of the reports here for what they're saying about this November 4th, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. Are these protests, or are they riots, or is it even worse than a riot? Are they trying to start a civil war? Because that some of their people have used that term.
You know what? I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's the thing with Antifa and a lot of these organizations, whether you're talking about Black Lives Matter or even, in some cases, right-wing militia. I mean, they're not organized groups. I mean, it's not something. What one faction decides they want to do may not be the same as another faction.
Sure.
On the other side of the country. I wish we could have somebody from Antifa on tonight, but and we've tried. I've tried to get somebody from Antifa on, and I understand. I mean, they don't. The group that I was talking to was the Great Lakes, branch of Antifa.
Which nothing is planned in the Detroit area. Where we live, they're not on the we'll see what happens on November 4th, but they do have them planned everywhere. And some of the reports are saying that police are going to potentially stand down. And I don't know, is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. This is I don't know. It's kind of scary to me, all this stuff going down, and we'll see. I tend to think it's not going to be as terrible as some are saying.
No,
but,
I think
that's scary to me. The thought of them, saying that, because it's often their own people using words instead of saying protest to say riot or civil war.
I mean, it's personally. I mean, I think a lot of the fear that is being brought up with all of this. I think a lot of it could be people on the right, trying to to paint a bad picture. I know Antifa already doesn't have a favorable view with a lot of people, but they're using I think a lot of this is people trying to use other channels to combat against Antifa.
It could be. I mean, we'll see.
And I don't think anything's going to happen with any of it. I don't think we're going to see any type of, attempted civil war or anything like that. I think a lot of it is just fear being drudged up on, with people that just outright don't agree with Antifa. I mean, like I said, do I agree with everything that Antifa says? Absolutely not. Do I agree with some of it? Yes, I do. So
the thing I'm kind of struggling with Antifa is with the terminology and the way it's being portrayed. And I struggle with this because you know, I guess some of the basis of this is that Donald Trump is a fascist and that America is now fascists. And I don't think that's all the way true. And you know that I've actually kind of called Donald Trump a fascist in the past. You know I've done that.
No, and you know you've prefaced with it with saying, you know, oh well, you call, like, for instance, Bernie Sanders. You say, well, I'm not say I will say Bernie Sanders is a communist, but I'm not going to say he's Joseph Stalin.
Right.
You could call Donald Trump a fascist and not say he's Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, I have called Donald Trump a fascist in the past. I have called Barack Obama a communist in the past. That doesn't mean they're Adolf Hitler or Joseph Stalin. Does not mean that even a tiny, tiny bit. Donald Trump and Donald Trump's people, I should say, have referred to him as a nationalist. Many times, a nationalist in a lot of ways is basically a fascist light. Basically,
would that be how a socialist is a communist light?
Absolutely, absolutely, positively, yeah, no, completely. And you know, Donald Trump has been described by his own people, by supporters of his, even the Sean Handys of the world, as a nationalist. And I tend to think when someone is ballsy enough to describe themselves as a nationalist, that you can have maybe some fascist tendencies in there. And again, that fascist doesn't actually necessarily isn't synonymous with evil, per se. When we think fascist, we think Adolf Hitler. We think Benito Mussolini. We think Hirohito. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And now, Barack Obama's people never quite had the stones to refer to him as a socialist. He was one. Still is one. And I will even say that he's kind of a communist in a lot of ways. Bernie Sanders does at least have the he does have the gumption at least to come out and say, yeah, I'm a socialist. And yeah, Bernie Sanders is a communist. But again, he's not he is not Joseph Stalin. Joseph Stalin wasn't evil because he was a communist. He was evil because he killed 20 million Russian peasants. And Adolf Hitler wasn't evil because he was a fascist per se. Really, he was actually not a fascist. He was a National Socialist. But that's, you know,
actually, National Socialist is taking all the worst parts of fascism and
yeah, it is,
and communism and putting it together.
That's, I mean, Franco, Mussolini, Hirohito. If you want to go through,
those are fascists.
Though they were fascist, they were part of a fascist party. Adolf Hitler actually was not. A lot of fascist tendencies. Economically socialist, though. Again, though, something that's really important, though, is that maybe Donald Trump has some fascistic words. Maybe he comes across as a nationalist, among a myriad of other things that Donald Trump comes across as, depending on the day, or the hour, or the tweet. But Donald Trump, let's just say for a second that Donald Trump is a fascist. Let's just agree on that for a second. That doesn't mean that the United States is fascist. He's the president. That doesn't mean that we're all fascists now and that the government is fascist. He's not the legislature. He's not the Supreme Court. He's the duly elected president of the United States, with the term limits. Just like when Barack Obama was there, maybe Barack Obama was a communist, but that doesn't mean that we became a communist country. He was the leader of our country for 8 years. We didn't become a socialist or communist country just because we had somebody who had socialist tendencies in there. These people were elected, rightfully, to this office by the will of the people. You may not like them. I didn't like either one of them. You know, I didn't vote for either one of them. I didn't like either one of them. But it doesn't mean that because of that, we're all of a sudden fascist or we're all of a sudden communist. Just like when Bill Clinton became president, that didn't mean that all of a sudden we're Democrats. All of a sudden, the whole country's Democrats. When George Bush became president, all of a sudden, we're all Republicans. All of a sudden, now we're a conservative nation because we have a conservative president. Now we're a liberal nation because we have a liberal president. No, we just elected a dude to be president of the United States. He's term limited. He has checks and balances. It's there.
Well, you could even see it right now, Josh. I mean, look, Donald Trump is president. Donald Trump is a quote unquote Republican.
Mm-hmm.
You have a Republican controlled House and Senate, and still not a lot is getting done.
No, he's receiving intense opposition from the Democrats. He's receiving some opposition from Republicans. I mean, well, that's how the system works.
Well, I mean, it's something that, I mean, look what happened today. You had Bob Corker, you had Jeff Flake come out and, continued to denounce, Donald Trump in every which way. You have John McCain out there, basically, not basically denouncing Donald Trump. A lot of the, they're in many cases not naming Donald Trump by name, but when you have a guy like John McCain going out there and talking, throwing shade on Donald Trump, talking about bone spurs, who he was talking about without mentioning names. But I mean, I think the most powerful entity in the world is a unified United States Congress. It's not a president. It's United States. It's a unified United States House and Senate.
Right.
That's the most powerful governing body in the world. It's not the president.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, and this is not a time for civil war because you don't like the guy that won the election. It's just not. There are dozens of checks and balances in place to keep this from happening. The main check and balance that's in place, you hear checks and balances and you think of the three branches of government, assuming that you know what you're talking about and that you paid attention in government class. And that you paid attention in high school or took this stuff in college later or read a book somewhere along the line. The main check and balance for the president is that in 3.5 years, he has to run again. The checks and balance comes from the people. It comes from us. Oh, no, the Electoral College is going to screw us and give it to him again. No!
and it doesn't, it doesn't matter how much you like him at the end of 8 years. He can't become president again.
Right. You had a whole bunch of conservatives going, we'll never get Obama out of there. He's going to take over. It's going to be good. No, he's gone. He's gone. And you still get your guns. And you still got everything. And maybe you didn't like him. I didn't like him. I didn't like Barack Obama. I thought he was a crappy president. And I don't think he's a very good person. Hey, that's cool. But you and I can disagree. But the one thing we can't disagree on is what you just said. He can't even be president anymore. So who cares?
Oh, we'll find a way.
Maybe. Well, maybe we'll. And if that's the case, hey, that if Donald Trump truly goes against the Constitution and just reinstitutes institutionalized racism in the United States of America, and when his 8 years are up, he says, "No, I'm staying president, Vladimir Putin style," then by all means, I'll suit up with Antifa and I'll be out there with him. But till then, I don't like Donald Trump either, but he hasn't even done anything that terrible. I don't even see it. I don't see it.
I guess that mimight be the silver lining to all of this, is having a chance to see Josh suit up with Antifa.
Oh, shit. I'll suit up. I'll have to be their leader because they're a bunch of whiny crybabies who... Let me show you how to riot, son.
You know what else? You know what else I don't like? I mean, a lot of times Antifa is carrying around the workers, .org banner, and I went to workers.org. It's it's a website that it's kind of a news website. Obviously, it's a communist news website, and I mean, you go on there and they're praising the leadership in Venezuela, and they're praising the leadership in North Korea, and it's like, you are?
Yeah. These are terrible. Not only are the people who have run Venezuela and North Korea and Cuba, not only are these terrible murderous men. I mean, terrible, terrible human beings. Not only are they that, but they were terrible leaders, and those countries are in shambles.
You know, and to me, Josh, this isn't a communist or a capitalist type of thing, because I don't necessarily believe that Kim Jong-un isn't communist anymore. They're what is it? It's Junch or something like that.
Sure.
It's
their countries still run very much in a communist manner.
These
they're above that in their eyes.
I mean, these people, these leaders, they're not in power for the benefit of the people. They're in power for the benefit of themselves, and
they were not elected.
No, and to me again, this isn't a communist. This isn't a capitalistic. This isn't any of that. These are people in power who are downright evil, and people here in the United States praising them or telling the United States to just brush it aside and not become imperialistic and get involved with it. And like I'm under the belief that the United States can become involved with this without being undertaking American imperialism.
Sure.
In some sense, this is, that old saying, with great power comes great responsibility.
Sure.
Thank you, Ben Parker. And when you see this type of thing going on, when you see these humanitarian crises going on, I mean, as a world power, I mean, in some sense, it's your duty to, do what you can to help the situation get better, not stand on the sidelines while, innocent people.
Well, and that's something that, like, I understand the frustration. I mean, this country is so polarized right now, and I don't know if it can ever come back.
And again, hold on, one thing, Jack.
Sure,
I'm not saying going and dropping bombs on people.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
Go ahead, though.
And this country's so polarized. Everybody's so angry at everybody else. It's really a shame. I don't know that this country can recover from all this stuff. And I see the frustration on both sides. I empathize with the frustration on both sides.
Shut up.
But
I hate you.
I know you do, Adam. I know you do. It's all right, man. I love you. It's all good.
Capitalist dog, you.
The thing is with a guy like Trump, he comes out and says things along the lines of, "Hey, we're sick of doing all the work." I don't blame him. I don't. It sucks sometimes. I'm sick of there's a humanitarian disaster and we're right there doing what we can to fix it. Yet we have a humanitarian disaster with our hurricanes. Where was the help? Where was the rest of the world coming to help us out? We're not perfect. We have issues too. When, we have a natural disaster, we have something. Where was everybody else to come help us? I can see rallying behind Trump a little bit when he says that stuff. But
Mexico's helping out in Houston.
They're trying. There was a few things out there, a few places that they, a few countries that have tried to help out a little bit in the past. It's not, it's not that there has never, ever, ever been another country to help. I'm not saying that at all. But the United States goes above and beyond and has done so much more than these other nations when it comes to things in other countries, especially. But, you know what? We're the United States of America. We have the means, we have the power, we're the greatest country on planet Earth. We're the greatest country that has ever been created. And you know what? We didn't do it then.
Better than Roman Empire?
Yes. We didn't do it then, and we shouldn't be doing it in the future, so somebody else will help us later. We didn't do this tit for tat. We didn't say, we're scratching your back, you better scratch ours later. We did it because it was the right thing to do. And just because somebody else doesn't do the right thing, that doesn't mean you should stop doing the right thing either. That's basic morals, basic logic, basic ethics. We didn't do the right thing then, so somebody would do the right thing later. We did it because it was the right thing to do. And we should continue to be a country that has morals. And no, morals doesn't have to mean religion, but you should be a moral nation.
It's common sense morality.
Right. And it's common sense and it's common decency.
Mm-hmm.
So So I can see why people rally behind Trump when he says stuff like that, because it's true. It's true in a lot of ways. You know, you get sick of it. You get sick of it when you're the only one doing the right thing sometimes. And no, I know the United States hasn't always done the right thing. I'm not saying that. But I'm talking about in your own life. You know that. Anybody listening out there. Sometimes you feel like you're the only one that's doing the right thing. And so, but the answer to that is stop doing the right thing. No, you just, it's never wrong to do the right thing. That's my thing. And I just, you know, this Antifa thing, they're pissed off because they don't like the guy that won. It's okay. Sometimes you get pissed off because you don't like the guy that won. But that's not Civil War time. You know, it just isn't.
I think, I mean, well...
And we'll see. Maybe they'll just be peaceful protests on November 4th, and, you know, won't be that big a deal. Maybe it'll even be a good thing in the long run. We'll see. We'll see on November 5th, right? You know, I mean, if we'll see what's going on. Adam, World Series, who's gonna win it, man?
If you go and look at the Sandlot Report, which is over on the Majors TV, which is youtube.com/Majors TV, or you can check it out over at the Majors website, themajors.net. You will see that I picked the Dodgers in, I believe, 7.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. I tend to think you're right. I'm rooting for Houston because I'm a lifelong Tigers fan, and I love Justin Verlander. And I actually always kind of liked the Astros anyway, from way back in the Nolan Ryan days. I was a little kid. But, you know, so I just always kind of liked him for that reason. But I love Verlander, and I hated the way he left the Tigers, so I'm just rooting for him. I'm just pretending like the Astros are my team this year. And I think they're good, you know. I like them. I was actually going to say Astros in 7, but
no, it's
just a guess. I mean, it's just a guess. I have no idea. These are great teams.
I think
I think it's going to actually be a really good World Series.
No, it should be. I mean, right now the Dodgers are up 3-1 in the bottom of the 7th.
And this is Game 1. Yeah. It's 100 degrees out there. They say
this might be the hottest World Series in quite some time.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of crazy stuff with politics, let's kind of swing back. Kid Rock is now not running for the Senate. My buddy Kid Rock went on your buddy Howard Stern's show and said, and I quote or I paraphrase, "What, you fucking kidding me? Of course I'm not running for the fucking Senate." Really, dude? Okay, I mean, so I guess we all imagined that big banner at the beginning of his shows that said the next senator from the great state of Michigan, and that, you know, he filed all the official paperwork, and I just think Kid Rock's being a dick, honestly. I really do. I think it's really stupid, and I'm actually kind of pissed off about it. And it's not because I was going to vote for him or I was dying to vote for Kid Rock. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was ridiculous. But just feel like, were there people out there who were legitimately going to run against Debbie Stabenow, who is a really crappy senator, by the way? I mean, were there people who were going to run who then didn't start their campaign out properly or didn't put their foot in their ring because they thought, well, I'm not going to run against Kid Rock because this is stupid, you know? Or, you know, just because he's got the money and he's got the fame and he's like, I don't, you know, is there people out there who are legitimate contenders who are thinking, well, I don't really want to get primaried by Kid Rock. So if this crap is really going to go down, then we'll let it go down. Also, he could just say no, so he can say that, no, this was a publicity stunt to sell more records. I just feel like he was an idiot, and now he's pretending like he wasn't an idiot. Like, oh, no, I wasn't being an idiot. I was just being an asshole. I feel like is what he's basically saying right now.
No, who do we have in the White House right now? We have a reality television star in the White House right now. So I think Kid Rock was absolutely possibly looking at a Senate run. I don't know what happened. I don't know whether or not, you know, he had somebody come up and tell him and say, you know what,
the numbers aren't there.
Yeah, the numbers aren't there. This probably isn't a good idea. But I'm glad to know that he's not going to run, because I think that there are enough ill-informed people out there that would actually cast a vote for what's his name?
Bob Ritchie.
Bob Ritchie, yeah. And again.
No, I'm glad he's not running either. I wasn't dying to have. I mean, I live in Michigan, born and raised, gonna live here. You know, I was born here, I'm gonna die here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't I was not dying to have Kid Rock as our senator. You know, there's no part of me.
You know, it would have
this again. I can't stand Debbie Stabenow.
It would have been embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean,
embarrassing.
The person he was going to run against, I loathe the woman. I think she's one of the worst senators in the United States. So I'm not, you know, I wasn't looking forward to staying home.
Don't you have a Debbie Stabenow cutout in your living room?
No, I don't. No, that was definitely somebody else. But I feel like this is really dumb. I feel like I think he was being a total idiot, and I love Kid Rock's music. Actually, I'm actually a Kid Rock fan. I don't love all of it. A lot of it's kind of dumb, but you know, I respect him. I think it's weird and kind of different and cool that he jumps around from the different genres. And I've always been a Kid Rock fan. I've seen him in concert twice.
I think he's awful.
I know you do. No, I know you're not a fan, but I like him. I mean, and I know people are like, "Oh, you're the hugest Kid Rock fan ever." You just said you saw him in concert twice. I've been to a lot of concerts in my life, and I live in Detroit.
I've been to a Kid Rock concert.
I know, but you left.
I left.
Yeah. No, I know you did. And that's just something that's part of your personality, Adam. I would never do that.
Mm-hmm.
I just wouldn't. But that's just, I'm not saying that you're right for doing that.
I just want to see Alice in Chains, that's all, because they're opening up.
No, I know. I was at that concert as well. And
Alice in Chains was good.
No, it was a big part of why I wanted to be there was because of Alice in Chains. But I don't do that. If I paid to see a concert and I only wanted to see the opening act and ABBA was the closing act, or Ace of Base or something was the headliner, I'd stay. You know, I'd say somebody, you know, even if somebody I couldn't stand, I'd probably stay and just cause, you know, because I paid for the ticket.
You'd want to see the sign?
Yeah. I like people would be leaving and they'd be like, "Don't turn around." But I don't know why sorry if I'm pissing off Ace of Base fans out there. Like, what? Of course you better stay if it's Ace of Base. But I just
don't turn around.
But I just
awesome.
This just annoys me, this Kid Rock thing. It really does. It annoys me, especially since I know at the end of the day, all this truly came down to was there's a thing that, you know, I remember reading about this in college when political science was my thing, you know, in college. And there was a thing, and this was serious, that they used to do with that politicians used to do when they were talking about somebody running for a new office, and they would do what you would call the laugh test. They really would tell you to, you know, get some friends and family together for a dinner party or something. Go into your living room before there's any inkling of this, before there's anything hits the press that you're thinking about running. Sit down with your friends and family and tell them, "Hey, I think I'm going to run for president, run for senator, run for mayor." And if anybody laughs, don't do it. You know, it's just, they used to call it the laugh test. You know, just bring in some feelers, some people you trust. And if those people are laughing at you, then trust me, the people that don't know you personally, they're going to be laughing at you too. And basically, Kid Rock just used the entire city of Detroit and the entire state of Michigan as his living room laugh test. And he heard a lot more people laughing than maybe he had hoped for, and now he turned it into a joke on his end.
Mm-hmm.
And shame on him. Stupid. Especially since he's basically admitting, which I actually don't really believe him completely, that no, it's just a publicity stunt from day one. It's like, oh, well, thanks. Thanks for using us as your publicity stunt.
Yeah.
That's classy. Thanks, bro.
Especially with politics, too.
No, I mean, because he's got this like vibe about him where he's a Detroiter, he's the Michigander, he's, you know, he's one of us. He's the simple man that made it. And he sings for the people and all this stuff. That's cool. Hey, I bought into that. I saw his concert. It was fun. But then he does this. Like, I'm sorry. I just think you're a jerk now. Hey, if a lot of people in music and, you know, a lot of people in show business, music and movies are jerks. Kid Rock comes out with a song I like, I'm still gonna listen to it. I don't care. You know, there's a lot of people out there who are jerks. I'm not gonna not say that he's a jerk though.
Yeah,
kind of sucks, you know. And like I said, I've been a fan.
Again, for me, it's relieving. It's relieving that we're not going to have to, deal with the possibility.
It is for me too,
of Kid Rock being a senator.
I actually am with you on that, Adam. I really am. I just think it's a joke. I just get sick of it. I still cringe every time I see Senator Al Franken out there. It's like, cut it out, Al Franken. You're not a senator. Like the other senators take you seriously. You're that guy from Saturday Night Live who had name recognition and became a senator. You're not qualified for this position.
He's been there for quite a while now.
He has. He's won re-election. It's a long term as senator, 6-year term. When many people disagreed with that at the Constitutional Convention when they saw 6 years. They saw a 6-year term. They're like, why? Might as well make it lifetime.
Do you agree with the 6-year term?
I don't have a problem with it, but maybe you think though back in 1789, though
6 years is a long time.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people. I believe, what's his name? Samuel Adams actually was one of those people saying like 6 years.
The guy who made the beer?
Yeah, the guy that made the beer. And Patrick Henry was another one for sure. Patrick Henry was one of the people who was very much against that when they said, like, 6 years. You might just make it lifetime. Just make it lifetime. Because it's 6 years, and then you can run for re-election, and then now you're there for 12 or 18. Like, come on, that's a huge term.
It'll work itself out in the end when people are living much longer lives. So
somebody may have said that. Yeah, for sure. But I was just kind of turned off by this Kid Rock thing, though. If he was gonna do it, do it. If you're not, good. I'm glad you're not. But just why just string everybody along like that? Actually, he took campaign donations.
Had a website.
People donated to his campaign, and now he's saying, well, that money that people use to donate to the campaign, I'm going to use it to I believe he said he's going to use it to set something up to get people to register to vote at his next concert. You know what? That's not what those people donated that for. Here's an idea, rich Kid Rock. Give it back to him.
Or, yeah.
Give it back to him.
Yeah. Or undertake a cause or something. And
well, to him that is a cause, but it's like, okay, but it's really just another publicity stunt, because now you can register to vote at the Kid Rock concert.
Here I'm sure here's something that everybody, especially in Michigan, can get behind. How about you donate it to Flint?
Sure.
Is that cool?
Sure. Yeah.
We're gonna work and we're gonna pay off some of the hospital bills that
I just think you give it back. They donated to a campaign that they thought was serious, and now you're telling them. I mean, you in essence, and I'm not saying it was him directly, because a lot of people set this stuff up for him, but he took that money under false pretenses. And I know it's not that much money. It's not that many people that donated, and they didn't give $1 million, but that money was taken under false pretenses. They didn't give it to the get people to register to vote at the Kid Rock concert fund. They didn't give it to the Flint fund. If they wanted to donate it to Flint, they'd have given it to Flint. Mm-hmm. They donated it to the Kid Rock campaign because they believed. And it was crap. It was all crap. We got a cool Halloween show planned for next week. We're going to do some creepy stuff, some fun stuff, some scary stuff. On the show, it's going to be really cool right here in the Detroit area. It's going to be really some cool stuff. Hopefully we don't see anybody burn down any houses on Devil's Night, but hopefully they.
I'm not so much worried about that. I'm worried about the ghosts that we're gonna see.
Yes, we are gonna definitely. We're gonna see some ghosts.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, no, I definitely believe in ghosts. I actually my number one ghost thing that I believe is I actually link ghosts to, and we'll talk about this maybe a little bit next week, but I link ghosts to my belief in the simulation theory.
Okay.
And we mentioned that briefly on one of our first Deep Issue shows when we talked about simulation theory.
Heathen.
And I would love to revisit that. But let's talk about some of the fun stuff with Halloween a little bit. We both got kids. Are you a big Halloween guy?
My wife and I actually have fun with my 3-year-old, and I want to take advantage as much of it as we can to have him be something cool for Halloween when he wants to start. Cause
Sure.
eventually he's going to start wanting to be something stupid. But we've always had fun, having him, dress up as something
Cool.
something cool. Like when he was like his first Halloween. He wasn't 1 yet. I mean, he was almost 1. He's born in December, beginning of December. So we would his first Halloween we dressed him up as a zombie.
Cool.
And my wife did an excellent job having him, doing the zombie makeup and everything
Cool.
as well as you can on a baby that's not even 1 yet. His second Halloween, he was Beetlejuice.
Cool.
Which was cool. Last year, he was Pee Wee Herman.
That's a great one.
And this year, he's going to be Negan from The Walking Dead.
Very cool. Very cool.
So yeah, we have fun with it.
I actually don't even know what my kids are gonna be yet. They decide at the last minute. But yeah, no, it's fun. I had like a really cute, this is going to sound kind of cutesy here, but I had a really cute Yoda costume that I put my ones in when they were really little.
No, that's cool.
For, it looks cool if you carry around a little Yoda for Halloween.
I dig Yoda.
Yeah.
What are you going to be?
I actually have that a relative of mine from out west sent me. I actually have this really awesome Darth Maul mask.
Oh, really?
That I was going to plan on trying to scare the crap out of my kids and nieces and nephews with at least once. But I'm not really big on Halloween.
No.
It's I have fun with it. And to me, and I know a lot of people disagree with this because a lot of people but to me, Halloween's for kids. Yeah. And I have kids. So I got 4 kids. So, I like it. And I like going trick-or-treating with them and stealing their candy and all that stuff, but I've never been that into Halloween myself. For me, it's to me Halloween's for the kids.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, if you had cool Halloween costumes or anything as an adult, like cool, did you ever do the Halloween party thing?
We didn't really do the Halloween thing. I mean, I had some. I think the best Halloween costume I probably ever had was obviously when I was younger. My dad and I made this robot costume.
Really?
For me, yeah. And it was, I mean, we used, a bunch of cardboard boxes and
sweet.
It was really, really cool. I thought, we put this light in the front, and it was a strobe light off of a bike.
Cool.
So we had it sitting in here. We put like kind of tin foil behind it and everything, so this strobe would be going off, on me, and it was cool. I mean, we had fun with it.
That's cool.
But
my dad made me a kick-ass Ninja Turtle costume here as a kid. It was awesome. Yeah. He did it up. My dad was always into that stuff. He actually even when I was growing, my dad was in his 40s and 50s. I remember my mom and him would always go to Halloween parties. My dad would usually either win first, second, or third prize. He'd usually win one of the prizes or something. That they had a gross one several years ago. They told everyone that because my mom doesn't care about this stuff. She thinks it's whatever. She'll go and hang out. But they told everyone that they were going as Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad went as Marilyn Monroe. It was disgusting. and this skimpy Marilyn Monroe outfit, and my mom just wore a Yankees jersey.
Oh, really?
that was pretty much their Halloween costume. But I remember him bringing home a prize that year, and it was just oh god, those pictures.
How long ago was this?
That was probably 15 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that. I was probably in my my early 20s, late teens or early 20s when that happened. I always did really dumb ones. I remember one year, last costume party I got dragged to.
You trash one year?
Well, I covered myself in trash bags and wrote the number 2 all over it, and I tried to get people to guess what it was. I was a deuce bag. So I don't know. I'd go. For
I
the-
remember.
I'd
I
go for
remember.
the
I
funny
think
ones.
I remember that one.
Yeah, you might have been at that party.
I think I was.
Yeah. So I try to have fun with it or whatever. But Halloween as an adult, I guess the cool thing is you get to see like all your buddies' wives and girlfriends dressed slutty.
Yeah. That's something my wife never did. I can't remember who she was before. She never really dressed up. But yeah, it's true. I mean, that's the thing nowadays is the slutty costume that you see more often than not.
And hopefully we get some pictures to put on the site of Alicia Renee, our guest last week, who said she was going as Pauly Shore from Biodome.
Oh, she said that she's going like that this year.
Yeah.
She's going to be
Yeah,
Pauly
so
Shore.
hopefully, again, I hope you guys caught last week's show with Alicia Renee. She was a blast, but hopefully we get some pictures of her great Pauly Shore costume and also of the Yoshi mural she is doing in her kitchen. That was such a fun interview. I can't wait to have her on again in the
Going as
future.
Pauly Shore.
Yeah, I was not expecting to talk about Pauly Shore that much ever in my entire podcasting career, as we did just on last week's show with Alicia. But do we have a news section?
We do.
Let's do it.
All right. This week, let's see here. As we know right now, the Dodgers and Astros game 1 of the World Series. Looks like we're in the top of the ninth. They're going to the top of the ninth. Dodgers are winning 3-1. So Dodgers are on the verge of taking a 1-0 lead in the best of 7 series, World Series, that is. So let's see how that one finishes out. Marilyn Manson. Looks like Marilyn Manson is parting ways with longtime bassist following rape allegations. Earlier this week, bassist Twiggy Ramirez was accused of rape by former girlfriend and jack-off Jill lead singer Jessica Adams. Manson has since come out to announce that Ramirez will no longer be part of his band. And again, like I said, Twiggy has been a part of Marilyn Manson's crew, his band, for a very, very long time. So obviously this is big news in the music world. It's pretty much kind of been his right-hand man, from what I remember.
That name, I'm not a huge Marilyn Manson fan, and I couldn't name anybody else in the band, but I know that name, for sure.
This one here in Michigan, Josh, Michigan teens charged with murder over deadly rock throwing incident. 5 teens ages 15 to 17 are being charged as adults with 1 count of second-degree murder each for throwing rocks off an overpass, killing a 32-year-old man. This is near actually the Flint area, and I say rocks because they threw more than 1 rock. I believe one of those rocks, did come down and actually kill, like they said, a 32-year-old man who was
caused a lot more damage other than just him. They hit other cars.
Yeah,
as well.
they hit other cars. In fact, they said that because the man who they killed was actually in the passenger seat of this van. And his friend who was driving couldn't pull over right away because there was other cars stopped on the side of the road who were hit by this. And apparently I hear that they also threw a tire off of this overpass as well. They did this, and then they went off, according to the reports, they went and had McDonald's. They went to McDonald's to eat afterwards. So after they went and killed somebody, and potentially could have killed more people, they go and, take a load off at Mickey D's and get some quarter pounders or something like that. But
terrible story.
It's good to hear that these jack-offs are going to be tried as adults because, again, I know there's juvenile law in this country, but when you're 15, 16, 17 years old, damn well you shouldn't be throwing rocks off of a freeway overpass.
I couldn't agree more. How ridiculous! This is just. What an absolutely terrible story.
Yeah.
And terrible human beings. Jeez, who would even... God, I did dumb stuff when I was a teenager, but things like that would never even occur to me to, try to hurt people like that. That's terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. Let's see here. Sarah Huckabee Sanders defended President Trump from Republican attacks and took aim at Senator Jeff Flake, calling his comments today on the Senate floor petty after he announced his upcoming retirement ahead of the 2018 election. she's basically saying that Jeff Flake is retiring because he's unpopular. Those are much of the same accusations made towards Bob Corker out of Tennessee. Again, Donald Trump is saying the only reason why he's not running is because I'm not endorsing him, which I don't quite know if that's the case. Speaking of Donald Trump, a protester today who posed as a journalist started throwing Russian flags at the president as he was walking by.
I heard about this.
Mitch McConnell's right by him too, but yeah, I don't know. I found some humor in it.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that guy got past security, but
I think it was. I don't know if this was the same guy that was passing out Russian flags with Trump written across it at that big conservative convention. I forget what it's called. Anyways,
yeah, CPAC.
CPAC. There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they got pictures of people holding up the Trump flags. You know, not knowing, not realizing what it was that they were what that they were holding out. But
well, I hope this dope thinks that a couple of chuckles is worth it, because I'm sure he's gonna be in some trouble now.
Yeah, he might be. Senate passes a $36.5 million disaster aid bill for Puerto Rico. It's only awaiting Trump's approval, so it looks like Puerto Rico will finally be getting some more aid in that portion of the United States, which I'm sure some people forget about. Yes, Puerto Rico is part of the United States, and Puerto Ricans are American citizens. So, let's see here. Oh, this I don't know if this is going to be good news for you, Josh. I don't think you'll actually care, but scientists have developed low-fat pigs. Chinese scientists say the pigs have 24% less fat than their non-genetically modified counterparts.
Ooh, cool. So
maybe what this could mean is healthier bacon.
Oh, healthier bacon. I was just hoping that you'd get more bacon.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying is you probably...
As long as it tastes the same, I don't care if it's healthier or unhealthier. I just want to make sure that I just want more bacon output.
But I mean, wouldn't it be a better benefit? Like, say bacon was completely healthy but still tasted the exact same.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Sure. Yeah, no, as long as it still tastes as good. As long as it still tastes as good. But yeah, if they're losing any of that, then don't try to make it healthier if you're sacrificing taste.
We were talking about, kind of the whole, sexual assault, that,
Sure.
the seedy underculture of Hollywood. Today, Terry Richardson was banned from Vogue and other leading magazines. This comes from The Telegraph, is reporting that fashion photographer Terry Richardson has been barred from working with all Condé Nast titles, which include Vogue staff. We're told all commissions should be killed or substituted with other material. Richardson has been dogged for years by allegations of sexual exploitation of models, something that he has always denied. And again, Josh, here's something else that, again, a lot of people knew about that.
Sure.
That they really did nothing about until shit hit the fan with Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah. Well, then I'm glad it did. If this is the only way that some of these other guys are going to get fried, then I hope more and more come out. It's a shame that this has been floating around for decades and nobody's been able to do anything about it. But if we can do something now, better late than never.
Yeah, I guess, and yeah, I mean, and I guess that's the only way that you can look at it is. And the only thing you can really say about it is, better late than never. So, I mean, unfortunately, you couldn't save some of the other people that he sexually assaulted or exploited. But, hopefully you can...
save the ones he was going to do it to in the future, because God knows he wasn't going to stop.
No. In a lot of sense, I don't believe any of these people can be rehabilitated. Much like, child,
Sure.
pedophiles.
Sure.
Pedophiles are never going to be rehabilitated. And I've heard them come out before and say that it's not something that they're ever going to be cured of.
No.
So I don't know. I guess that you can draw your own conclusions from that.
Right. No, they're terrible people. They did terrible things, and I wish we could have caught them sooner. But let's be glad that they're hopefully won't be able to do it anymore.
Yeah. I told you about this on the way here, Josh. A GOP senator has his popcorn ready for the Trump Corker showdown after after a tense exchange between the president, Senator Bob Corker, Senator Tom Tillis, headed to the lunch where both men would meet face to face with appropriate supplies. One of this was a popcorn machine with a bag of popcorn, which is
it's hilarious.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, obviously, I mean, it sucks making light of of government when you're dealing with the president and
this is British Parliament-esque.
Yeah, and a senior statesman like Bob Corker, but yeah.
This reminds me of the old the Michael Jackson meme that they always show the Michael Jackson gif where he's eating the popcorn and just says, "I'm just here for the comments."
Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else here worthwhile, Josh. Time for Ivanka Trump to invest in a dictionary. Vice writer lays out a case where the first daughter is either overusing a thesaurus or never using a dictionary. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of different. Ivanka Trump admits to being complicit to father's agenda while seemingly not knowing what the word means. That came from The Independent. I don't know that the critics who may say that of me, if they found themselves in this very unique situation I am now in, would do any differently, says the newly appointed advisor to the president. So, what else does she say here?
Yeah, she might not talk perfectly, but I prefer the way she talks to her dad, so I'd take it.
Yeah, she does. I mean, yeah, she is much more well-spoken than Donald Trump is.
If you're going to rip apart one of the Trump family for the way they talk or the way they phrase things or talking too much, Ivanka is not the one that pops into my head.
Yeah. And that's going to do it, Josh.
Okay, cool. That was Around the Empire with Adam Hernandez. And real quick, we normally end the show directly with that, but I do want to just make one more note. I know I got a little bit of crossover, I hope anyway, from, we're doing this show, the X-Cast with Adam, and the Majors live before that with Adam for a long time, and with Adam and Nick.
And Grouty.
And Detroit Grouty Radio. But, some of you may on occasion catch me on my other show, Settled on the Screen Live, where about competitive gaming. And I hope you're still tuning into the Houselander and Freddy Hour, too, with my co-host, Rudy Freddy. But this coming up Thursday for Settled on the Screen Live is going to be my last appearance on that show. I'm announcing that here first for the first time. First time I publicly announced it, told some people close to me, but that will be my last show. I will still be here, right here on the X-Cast, and I will still be doing the Houselander and Freddy Hour as well. But my days on Settled on the Screen Live, at least for the foreseeable future, are going to be done. So if anyone feels like tuning in to...
So you've settled it on the screen.
I have settled it. I will settle it on the screen for the last time this coming up Thursday. So if anyone feels like doing a little crossover action and checking me out on the Twin Galaxies Facebook page on Facebook Live from 10 p.m. Eastern Time to 11 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be making my last appearance there.
And this is Thursday. This
coming up Thursday, yeah.
10 p.m. Eastern.
Yes. So if anyone feels like tuning in, I'll be there. If not, no worries. I'd rather have you tune in to this show, the X-Cast, next week. Same X time, same X channel.
Actually, we'll be on Monday next week.
But are we going to air on Tuesday?
Well, it's going to be, yes, we're going to rebroadcast on Tuesday, but we will start broadcasting pieces probably Monday on Facebook Live.
Okay.
So you'll be able to see that. And
so if you can,
on Tuesday as well.
On Devil's Night on the 30th, there will be some content up available, and then the show will air normally, and it's going to be a special show. It technically is a Deep Issues episode. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about ghosts. We're going to talk about spooky, fun, scary stuff right here on the X-Cast on theempiremedia.com. And then after that, it'll be back to business as usual on our normal nights right here on Tuesday. So Monday and Tuesday, we're going to have some content for you this week. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate it.
See ya.